Lake Macquarie City Council and Tidal Circular, focused on helping turn circular economy ambition into practical procurement action. Scalability is critical in business, and the same principle applies to circular economy. Recycling and remanufacturing can only scale when there's consistent demand for the products being made. So today is all about making those opportunities visible and showcasing practical products and solutions. I'll also be helping us keep on time. So speakers, I'll tag you when you have 30 seconds until your presentation. I'll give an applause reaction when you have 1 minute remaining and a heart reaction when it's time to wrap up. If you're not presenting or speaking, please stay on mute until it's your turn. We will be recording today's session, and please send any questions through the chat. We'll hopefully have time for question and answers, but if we don't get to your question, we'll follow up after the showcase. And thank you to all of our speakers and partners for being part of today. I'll now pass you on to Justin for the Welcome to Country.
Great, thank you so much, Sam. Right, we're getting our tech actually working today. This is wonderful. So I wanted to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we live and work, and pay respects to elders past and present, and of course to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples joining us today. We recognize their more than 65,000 years of caring for country and ongoing cultural contribution. This is very much in the spirit of why we're here today. So now I will hand over to Hal Dobbins, Coordinator Waste Strategy for Lake Macquarie City Council, for a welcome and some project context. You there, Hal?
All right, sorry about that, everyone. I think after all these years, I've learned how to work a online meeting. But as I was saying, it's great to have everyone with us this morning. Really big group online meeting. It's really exciting you join us for this project. Thank you, Justin and Samantha. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to explain a bit about why Lake Macquarie City Council is leading this project and why we think it's worth other councils getting involved. Now, some of you have already learned a bit about this with some industry briefings we've done. I guess I might be repeating myself a little bit, but I want to just kind of set the stage and say, like many other councils out here, in Australia, we're seeing our role in resource recovery sort of shift beyond just the collection and diversion from landfill, work. Increasingly, it's about taking some, ownership, stewardship of closing the loop on the resources that we're recovering. So that means getting involved into market development processes, leaning into procurement, and really looking at how can councils use our purchasing power to help create demand for recycled products. This is something that hit home for a lot of us in the aftermath of China Sword, and now with the waste bans, really restricting how much stuff we can send overseas. So looking at onshore processing opportunities. The whole intent behind that was to generate, more jobs, have more sovereign manufacturing here in Australia. So that's what this project's really trying to work toward. Lake Mac Council started our journey in this sort of space with just recycled glass sand. We had a lot of stockpiled glass in New South Wales back in China Sword days, and we started putting it into stormwater pipe installations, into road base. And from that we grew into recycled aggregates, low carbon concrete, fly ash concrete blends, tire chrome rubber in road surfacings. And so this is really our most recent foray into how can we lean into the soft plastics and just recycled plastic product supply to get things like pavers and furniture and bollards, wheel stops, things we're going to be talking about today. We don't generate a huge volume of soft plastics recovery in Lake Mac, about 15 tons. So I know some councils get a lot more, but the thing is that our residents they love it. They've got like a vocal demand for want to be able to recycle product. They're completely disconnected, unfortunately, from the reality of there's got to be product pull through to keep that going. So yeah, that's what this project's about. That's what some other councils that you're going to hear about today, are doing to try to raise that awareness in the community. There's not just look, you can do your part to bring your bags of soft plastic back to the shop or to your community recycling center, but there's more that needs to happen beyond that. Yeah, so I think that's the context, I guess, a bit about where we're coming from. And then the last thing I want to say is that, from our experience and maybe some of yours, is one of the hardest parts about getting these type of products we're going to be learning about today adopted inside of our respective councils' operational frameworks is just, having to navigate all the questions and tire kicking and everything else that get thrown at us from our procurement people, from our engineers, from our asset owners. And look, those are all valid concerns, but it's a lot of work to kind of just on a product by product basis put that over the line. And that's where this project comes in, where we're trying to create tools to make that pathway easier for all of us by creating a clear view of what's available in the product space, what's been assessed, what products councils are actually interested in, and ultimately where the aggregated demand for this stuff can give our suppliers and manufacturers a stronger market signal. So hopefully that makes sense. It'll make more sense as we go through the directory. And with that, I just want to thank the project partners, Circular Economy Living Lab, or CEL, and obviously Tidal Circular has really been the glue pulling this together. Justin, your energy and persistence and practical know-how to really turn this group of diverse stakeholders and suppliers into something useful, and just the work you've done in building this tool is phenomenal. So thank you very much. Yes, ultimately, it's our hope that this project's going to help move soft plastics recycling from a problem into a practical procurement opportunity. And last but not least, I just want to say a big thank you to our suppliers that are joining us today. We want to acknowledge that you've made investment in working with this resource stream. It's a national challenge, and you're doing your part to bring circular economy solutions to life onshore. And I just want to, say the call to action here is that we as local governments need to be supporting what they do if we're going to walk the talk and genuinely, say we want to support circular economy transitions. These are our opportunities to support these type of products and manufacturers. So I'll leave it with that. Hand back over to you now, Justin, and we'll kick on. Oh, you're on mute as well.
Of course. You'd think by now I would have figured it out. Thank you for that, Hal. All right, let's go back to the screen. Okay, so that was a great introduction, but now I'm going to share with you the reason why we're really here. So that's all fine and good, but the reason we're really here is that packaging isn't regulated and recycled content isn't mandated. So these are things, unfortunately, that are out of our direct control. And those are very much the reason why we have a major packaging issue now that we're trying to deal with. So I just wanted to acknowledge the many councils that are working hard in this space, of course, to recover the materials, but especially the recyclers, processors, and the remanufacturers that are constantly innovating and constantly thinking of ways that we can use this feedstock. Because without that, and without their innovation and their constant energy in this area, we have no soft plastics recycling at all. Because we know that if there is no end market for these materials, there's no reason to recycle, and there's nowhere for it to go. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And that's the whole reason really why we're here. So the material is flowing again. The in-store council drop-off, curbside collections are now back. They are scaling nationally, of course, in different ways. And councils are a key lever. So they're not the only lever, but they're a very significant one. And one of having worked in played significant roles in recycled content procurements with councils, coordination is constantly an issue, right? So if you have one council that is acting by itself, we can only achieve so much. But if we bring 2 or 3 or 4 councils, let alone 5 or 10 or 20, right? Having that coordination layer is critical. We now have the ability to do that for for Australian recycled soft plastic products. So this brings everything together in one place. And we now have a lever that we didn't have before. And this tool that we'll explain today, that is now live, is yours to use. And it works if we work it. So we know that the risk of not doing anything, we know what that risk is because we've been here before. Previously, collection outran demand and led to significant stockpiles. So we want to avoid a 2.0 of that. So before I continue, I just wanted to acknowledge, of course, the lead council, Lake Macquarie City Council. Thank you for your energy, your vision, and your expertise in helping bring this together. Circular Economy Living Lab, likewise, you've brought a tremendous amount to the project. And the reach so far, and this is so far before counting everybody that's here today, we have so far reached 65 councils, mostly in New South Wales, because that has been the scope of this project, but word has gotten out to other states as well. So I want to welcome everybody that's here today from both New South Wales and Queensland, Victoria. This is very much a national project that over time we hope will continue to scale. Before I move on, there's you'll see at the very bottom here a line, so impartial and non-commercial. This is really important because if this tool is going to be used as a pre-procurement tool, which is how it was designed, it needs to be impartial and non-commercial and probity compliant. So we've designed it with that in mind. So no product or supplier is recommended, ranked, or favored. No fees or commissions apply to any listing, quote, or purchase. So this is free to use, and we'll explain later. All you need to do to use it, you can view the catalog, but to start using the tools, you just need to register. And it's simple as that. You'll see some T's and C's that'll come up just so you know what the platform is about, what it is and what it isn't, which you click. You just put in your name, your title, your council, and your email address. That's it. All right, let's move on. So one thing that I think is really important to address is, and what I was really surprised about, is the full range of recycled soft plastics that are currently available. It is continued to evolve over the years, and having taken a structured approach to understand what are the main buying categories of the councils that have responded to the request for information, and we'll share some of that data shortly, and how the products align with those expenditure categories. Because, you know, if it's just a really small category and something that's not relevant to councils, then, you know, what are we talking about? But in this case, most of the products actually fall within councils' major expenditure categories, being civil, roads, buildings, infrastructure, parks, recreation. So there's a real relevant opportunity here for councils to use these products. Okay, I was going to ask everybody to guess how many products are available in the directory now and put the number in the chat, but I just let the cat out of the bag on that. So we currently have 88 products and growing, and this is also accounting for some of the products that were listed, and we just kind of pared them back because they weren't directly relevant to councils. So there are also a number of suppliers that use Australian recycled soft plastic feedstock to produce things like film for packaging and other applications. We have not included those because they're not relevant to councils. So we've tried to make sure that the products in here are directly relevant to you. And this is just a bit of a breakdown. So 16 categories. These are all categories that councils have identified in the request for information process across 10 suppliers. So there's a really significant range of products here. And at the bottom, you'll see just a rough breakdown of how many products are in each of those categories and what that includes. So, and you'll be able to see that live in the catalog shortly. So yeah, this is a growing opportunity, constantly evolving. So yeah, it's definitely time to get stuck in. So let's look at the Australian recycled soft plastic value chain. You're going to hear me say Australian recycled a lot because this isn't about recycled soft plastics. This is about Australian recycled soft plastics because we're dealing with our own waste problem through this value chain, and we also want to make sure that how we invest in these products and create that pull-through demand mechanism is going to is going to benefit those people and the infrastructure and the technology that is supporting the entire value chain. And that's really, really important. And later we'll have some speakers that will share on just how difficult that is in the current environment, how difficult it is to compete internationally with virgin feedstock basically being, flooding the Australian market. We have really good speakers to share. They're really at the coalface of this. But if we look at across, basically looking at recyclers, remanufacturers, and processors, this pre-processors in here as well, they roughly cluster into two areas in New South Wales and Victoria. And the one in New South Wales largely clusters around iQRenew up in Kundal because they have a fancy spec, the Soft Plastics Engineered Commodity Facility that is up and running and available to process soft plastics in a way that we really haven't had before. And that is that's directly feeding into other manufacturers' ability to create, destroy, and recycle soft plastic products. There are a couple of others in other states, but for the most part, these are the big clusters. I won't go into this, but if you break it down by role type, this shows you that largely there are recyclers and manufacturers that actually do both. And then there are manufacturers that just use the feedstock. So we're going to hear from a lot of these different suppliers today. So it's a really, really great opportunity. So let's look at what councils told us through the request for information. So that closed a couple of weeks ago. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to provide that valuable feedback. 26 New South Wales councils and 3 Victorian councils, which is really fantastic. Gives us a broad sense of what's actually happening. These are some of the headline numbers. So 29 of 29 said they're open to buying together. That's fantastic. That means that we have the kind of the social license really to do what this whole project is trying to do. 24 of 29 have or are developing a recycled content policy, target, or commitment. That's important too, because if you have that policy internally, it really helps keep turn the wheels of the machine to move it in the right direction. And if we don't have that policy, then many councils actually can't really do anything at all, because they have to stay focused on what that council is aiming to do across the board. So it's important to have that policy or target in place. And 25 of 29 have seen community demand for soft plastic recycling or recycled products. So these are pretty stark numbers showing that what we're trying to do here collectively is absolutely the right time and place. So I wanted to pull out a couple of verbatim quotes that were provided, because these were absolute gold, and how they correspond to some of the deliverables of this project. The first, we're not actually aware of which products are out there. So that's been a constant barrier for a while. There's a lot of products available on the market, but where do you look? You not even sure where to start. So this brings all of that together in the directory. Easy to compare whole of life costs would be hugely beneficial. So business cases are really tricky, right? And having a consistent approach to the environmental impact of each, understanding product and supplier data, what's the recycled content verification, all that kind of stuff. But being able to compare the cost of the true whole of life cost of a product across, say, 25 or 30 years, and compare that to the baseline or the virgin alternative. So the business case allows us to do that, and it can be exported for internal decision making. The bottom left, trust and verification, right? Do the products look good? Do they last? Do they do the job well? If they're not fit for purpose, we really don't have a conversation at all. So that's an important part of it. And there are a number of elements here around the recycled content verifications, standards, specs, some of the testing that's been done for example, UV degradation, all of that that is available, the suppliers have provided through the directory, so you have full transparency and visibility of that. And then the one on the bottom right, so scheduled pooling and signaling lets councils and buyers plan, prepare, and act. I know who put this one in there. I can't say it because we've de-identified it, but you're a winner. This is absolutely what I conceived of with this project, right? If we can coordinate and act together and think ahead, it gives us a really massive tool to when we approach the market and do it in a coordinated way. So congratulations to these 4 people whose quotes made it in. You have been de-identified, but you are very popular in a de-identified way. So what did councils tell us about the barriers? These barriers are pretty consistent across the board. The price of recycled versus virgin, right? There's a perceived barrier and a real barrier around that. And one of our speakers later will tell us why and some of the reasons for it. And they're, again, at the coalface of this, and they understand it probably better than anyone here. Staff knowledge gaps around circular procurement, and how do we approach it, business cases, tools, that sort of thing, performance data, all of that. It's hard to stay across all of this, and we have some deliverables in here that will help that. It's hard to build a business case. I've already mentioned that before. Systems don't flag circular options. So the existing contracts and panels and so forth, if they didn't start with a circular procurement approach and build in that data from the beginning, and also ask suppliers to provide recycled content of the products, or even add an additional weight in the procurement assessment process, sometimes that just flies under the radar and we don't know. So it's important to spec that. And Hal's going to talk a little bit about how they've spec'd recycled content in their products later. Unclear product specs. This one is really interesting. So yeah, the specs are all basically loaded up in the product cards, and no mandate or target. So these are, I'm going to skip over these quickly, but these are how the barriers are addressed. The whole of life business case calculator, and all of these. We'll provide this later when we share the deck. But there's a whole range of tools that are available to help you get across these barriers. So 4 reasons this project is procurement driven. We got a lot of great questions around, okay, great, we have a champion in council around the city focus on waste or sustainability, but ultimately this is a procurement project. So these are procurement tools, and they're dealing with procurement problems, and it's using pooling as a procurement method. So this is a well-known way to aggregate demand and try to influence the market. And all the probity requirements here have been addressed to the extent that they can. This isn't actually procurement, but this is designed to assist your procurement process. So I won't go into these in detail, but they will be available in the slides later. But this is an example of circular procurement in action. The outcome is circular, but the machinery is procurement. These are all the tools that will be available. They're all procurement based. They'll be available from the 8th of September on the directory website, and we'll share that with you later. And the idea here is that we have one directory that connects supply and demand and pools it. So we have verified supplier and product listings, decision grade data through the business case and environmental impact calculator, as well as all the data provided by suppliers. And then that can then be pooled, and we'll demonstrate that later in a live demand pooling activity. That basically is a way for councils to signal their intent to buy. It's not a commitment, and there's no obligation. It's simply a way to get more information and to coordinate before a procurement so that everybody's really on the same page. And then after this, it just hands off to individual councils, groups of councils, basically your existing procurement channels. So it could be LGP, it could be vendor panel, it could be ROC or JO, or even New South Wales government contracts if you want to draw down on those. I'm going to skim over this, but this is how the environmental impact calculator has been built that pre-fills the business case. All of the assumptions and methods are transparent and visible, because we know that data is only as good as the assumptions and methodology. So where LCA, so life cycle assessment or environmental product declaration data has not been provided, because many of these many manufacturers don't actually have the budget to or the business case to invest in one of those because the market is still developing. We've fallen back on the New South Wales EPA figures of 1.53 tons of CO2e net benefit per ton of recycled soft plastic. That's been verified with the New South Wales EPA.
Oh, you're on mute. Justin's on. Sorry, Justin, you've just gone on to mute. How
did I go on mute? Okay.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I don't know how that happened. I didn't even click it. Okay. So the point here is that with the business case, you get a case that your finance team recognizes. So the template plus an equivalent annual cost approach calculator. This is a really important approach that looks at the product lifespan over the whole product life, which is a lot better than just looking at the upfront price. It is aligned to the New South Wales Treasury Guide for Cost Benefit Analysis. So that's what the TPG 2308 is. That is the cost benefit analysis approach of the New South Wales government, and it also includes environmental impact. We look at whole of life, not just the upfront sticker price, because the sticker price can be deceptive. It doesn't tell you the full benefits of the product. So if you, it may be something might cost a little bit more upfront, but if you have to replace the virgin alternative twice in the same lifespan, then it's not really worth it. So governance ready, I mentioned it's all been designed for you to basically take into your internal processes. I'm going to skip over the whole of life, the importance of whole of life change, because I think I've already covered that. But the point is, we want to look at the whole lifespan of the product, because in some cases with these products, they actually improve and increase the lifespan. They improve the performance of the asset. So that's really important to consider. How did you want to go through the soft plastics and how these are collected, or?
Yeah, I'll just do the next couple really quick so we can make up some time and hear from our speakers. Thanks for all that, Justin. Yeah, look, so this is probably not news to all you guys, but there's pretty much 4 ways that materials come back, the soft plastics. And just as a bit of a slide about, who each of those methods suit and how they're paid for. It's important that this is just a menu, it's not a ranking, but in store, basically it's going to be levy funded through the stewardship scheme, and that'll be free to households. Kirby, it's our bag and bag curbside model, many people will be familiar with. There's generally a cost involved with that to councils or to customers to participate. Often it's rolled up in the recycling contracts provided at a municipal level, so that cost is sort of rolled up into that. Anyway, you'll hear more about that probably from IQ. Resmart is a doorstep service that councils subsidize generally and residents can pay for. And then drop-offs like at community recycling centers. That's the method like Mac uses, I'll show you in a second. And that generally uses infrastructure that's already councils have in place. Justin, can you get on to the next one?
Did you want to talk about the buyback commitment here, or just go to the next slide?
Yeah, good. The like Mac examples, I'll talk a bit about buyback. So I guess what we got on screen here, apart from some silly pictures, is after the supermarket red cycle bins were removed in Lake Mac, our residents were really vocal that they wanted a way to keep recycling soft plastics. I think many councils probably felt that. We responded by trialing the soft plastics recovery through our community recycling centers, and that kind of came first with Plastic Police, which many of you might remember, and Plasmar to collect material and then introduce a buyback arrangement for products. And that's how we started getting into this stuff, was the recyclers rightly sort of saying, hey, we can take this stuff, but there needs to be a buyback commitment. And that's something that a lot of the manufacturers you'll hear from today, like Resourceful Living or iQRenew, a few others, integrate into their offering. So we were getting furniture, bollards, those were the main ones we bought a lot of, which are on screen. And then that really evolved into a higher volume partnership with iQRenew as we started getting more residents bringing in more material. And that, again, was only available with a best endeavors commitment that we would buy back fit for purpose recycled plastic products for public works from suppliers using the spec feedstock. And that's where the second tile's there. It's like our first sort of parking area that we put down with pelagic pavers, which you'll hear from Philippa soon, and a whole heap of wheel stops from Resourceful Living, a lot of like parking bay markers also from Resourceful Living. So like that's where we're at currently. And if you look at the next one, Justin, that's sort of taken a leaf out of what Hornsby Council, just south of us, are doing. They also offer, some best endeavors buyback with their partnership with iQRenew, but they've taken I guess a step further and introduced community-facing buyback opportunities. So they offer a whole heap of products at their CRC that are available for the public to buy that are made from spec materials, and that's the image you see on the left. And they've got some pretty cool public-facing informative point of sales flyers for people to see it. So when they come to the CRC, it's got a bit of high visibility. It's a very busy CRC. I think that's a cool initiative, and it's something that we other councils could consider doing. All right, Justin, back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Hal. So recycled content claims are important, right? We want to avoid greenwashing, and we want to be able to see through the greenwashing. So all of the products that are listed in the directory now, we do know that they are using Australian recycled soft plastic feedstock, because we have linked them directly back to the recyclers. But they should all basically have traceability and the verification available, so you know exactly where it's coming from, and that's a very important part. So these are just some different considerations when you think about a recycled content claim. I'll go through these quickly. So what is the percentage measured against? Is it recycled content by mass? Is it of the whole product or one component? Pre-consumer factory scrap and post-consumer materials are not the same thing. So question 2, who stands behind it? Is it self-declared by the supplier? Is it checked by a third party or verified by an independent third party under a published scheme, like an environmental product declaration, or it could be, we'll go through some of the recycled content verification schemes as well. Is it traced or balanced? So the difference here is that the traced is physically traced content that goes back to exactly where it came from. Mass balance content is accounted for across the system. So I think they're both important in their own way, but we don't want to necessarily suggest one or the other. But it's good to know which one that it is. Mass balance, I think, is generally easier. And I don't think it's certainly not any less legitimate than direct tracing, because they both do provide a level of traceability. And so how the directory handles it, so it's attributed and dated. So we take the claims that the suppliers have made, and we've made them available to you, including their verification status. So we haven't verified the actual claims themselves. That is work that someone might do as part of a procurement. But yeah, having recycled content verification behind it will answer that question with certainty. So these, I'm not going to go over these in detail, but you can refer to these later. This is a kind of a broad list of the recycled content verification schemes. Global Recycled Standard is a big one. Global Green Tag, Good Environmental Choice Australia, UL 2809, and of course EPDs, Environmental Product Declarations, are all really big. And bottom left, Remade in Australia. I think they're still under ACCC review, so that's still a future option. I'm just going to move on to the next. Okay, so I'm going to skip over Soft Plastics Stewardship Australia because we do have Aaron here who's going to speak in less than a minute, and he can run through all of this in what it is, but this is just here for your reference later. We also have the National Framework for Recycled Content Traceability. This is led by DQ, voluntary, endorsed by environment ministers. So it's a guideline, not a scheme. It does offer some really, really good tools and build on existing infrastructure. It doesn't endorse a particular scheme, and it is aligned with the project's intent. So it's a lot of good information in here, but it is a voluntary scheme intended to guide stakeholders in the right direction. One other thing I wanted to mention quickly is that New South Wales, sorry, this says Commonwealth 2 Circular. Sorry, that's a mistake. It's New South Wales 2 Circular. They have also developed the Choose Circular directory with recycled content products, not just in soft plastic, but really across the board. And this was originally designed, I believe, for New South Wales government stakeholders that can also be used by a local government. And that is now open for suppliers to provide their information to populate the directory, and that will be available across all material types. But this supports that as well, and there's really strong alignment. Okay, without further ado, I'd now like to hand over to Aaron Rodman, CFO and COO of Soft Plastics Stewardship Australia. Over to you, Aaron.
Thanks, Justin, and morning, everyone. I'll try and get us a bit of time back, Justin, do the right thing so we can talk to the real stars of the show, being the end market players. Jump into the next page. Who's SPSA? I'm going to assume that most of the audience have some understanding of this, but very quickly, we're a product of the curbside-focused National Plastics Recycling Scheme, which the AFGC led and merged, for lack of a better term, with the Soft Plastics Task Force, which is Coles, Woolies and Aldi, who were in charge of cleaning up the red cycle stockpile and running the in-store trials that you now see. We've leveraged a range of external expertise, global schemes, and designed the scheme very much with an industry-first global edge, if you like. So that's where we've come from. Where are we going is on the next page, which is to move away from this, consume and dispose supply chain that we currently have to very much a circular one. So top left, punter on the street buys the product from their store, finds a way to get it back to us either via the in-store program or via the curbside collection program. It's going through various steps in the supply chain and finding its way back into a new product. Some of that could be back into packaging, others could be back into other products, and we're going to hear about all of that very, very shortly. Our governance arrangements on the next page. The reason I just want to touch on this briefly is the link to local government. So we have an industry-led board with independents and so on, but on the right-hand side there, our Stakeholder Advisory Council is a wider stakeholder group to elevate the voices of a range of participants. In particular, down the bottom right corner there, you'll see local government procurement expertise. There's also some of the folks we're going to hear about today, the likes of Graham from iQRenew, and also Bill Pemberton and Eleanor Robson from the local government sector. So we're very much aligned to this cohort. See them as a critical piece of the puzzle in terms of delivering a really great program that services the entire community really effectively. So we're up and going. We have around 730 or so collection points, 10 councils with curbside services. This is in addition to the likes of Resmart and Kirby and so on, which Justin and Hal have already mentioned. And so there's lots of good stuff happening here. There's processing capacity online. We've got a picture there of iQRenew, but there are others. Labeling has been, supported at least for now. Now on the right-hand side, there's just a little chart around, or was a little chart around, where we headed with regard to our market demand. It's a critical piece of the puzzle. So very early days for the program, but a really, really great start, and it's onward and upward from here. On the next page, I want to drop this one in just because, again, for the cohort in this particular forum, but we believe this is the way that we genuinely scale soft plastics and make a long-term viable scaled program with onshore infrastructure to support it and so on. couple of snippets here. This is from our 10 councils that we do our curbside program with, that specially designed orange bag that is about to be dropped in that yellow top bin. High 90s in terms of the support from those participants. And on the right-hand side, a couple of snips from the recent Cleanaway Recycling Behaviours report, which supports a very similar story. Right? This is a really topical and emotive subject, soft plastics. It's a relatively modest fraction, of course, comparable to, for example, FOGO and the other items that are still residing in a lot of red top bins, but a very important one, and a resource that we can divert away from landfill. And of course, the other piece with soft plastics is out of the environment. It's a light fraction. It's often windborne or easily windborne and ends up in rivers and parks. So community wants this. It's up to us to deliver it. And the end market piece, of course, which is the focus of today, is a huge component. So the last page for me, I mentioned we're underway. So the 700 odd points and so on. We've now got soft plastics recycling is accessible for around about 70% of Australia. Until it's 100%, we won't rest, but that's a great start. And on the left-hand side, some of those green boxes, I'll call out one or two. The main one being that the red cycle stockpile is now fully processed, which is a great achievement given where that came from. And I don't want to rehash the past, but that was a significant piece of work. And on the yellow, the right-hand side, on the yellow arrows, where are we headed and what are a couple of the big milestones up and coming? Soon you'll see in our collection points, our retail stores, scheme branding and community engagement materials, and hopefully a significant increase in our collections and our recycling, and the funding from brand support. So critically now, the two big pieces. One, more funding from brand owners. We need more and more brands to jump on. That's what stewardship is all about. And then unlocking more and more demand through the end markets, whether that be the actual utilization of the recycled content into a new product, or whether you can do multiple steps in that supply chain. They're the critical pieces of the puzzle. And I know we're going to hear about some really awesome stuff that's happening with Steve from Close the Loop and Grant from iQRenew and Paul from Saveboard and so on. So there's some great stuff happening, more and more to be done. And take my hat off to all of those local government players in particular who are genuinely getting involved here and buying back material. That's all from me. Justin, back to you. You've got my contact details there, and I'm happy to take any questions or emails offline after the session.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron. I really, really appreciate it. And apologies for some of the images not loading. That was the conversion to Google Slides. Some of them just didn't make it. So thanks for being flexible through that. And thank you for the great presentation. We'll now turn over to iQRenew. Graham Knowles, Group General Manager. Over to you, Graham.
Terrific. Thanks, Justin. Good morning, everyone. Great opportunity for us to talk to you today and give you a little bit of understanding of some of the work that we're doing at iQRenew. So there was a missing piece in all of this, and that was the ability to process post-consumer soft plastic. I'm going to give you a little bit of a journey and walk you through what we've done. Let's go to the next slide. So the missing piece was infrastructure and being able to process post-consumer soft plastic. If you think of all the plastic packaging you get at home when you walk through the supermarket, you'll notice that there's bread bags, there's lolly wrappers, candy wrappers, all diverse. Cheese wrappers, they're complex materials. So we needed to build a purpose-built facility, and what stands up today is Australia's first at-scale soft plastic processing facility. Let's go to the next one. So this has been a 5-year journey. We started off in 2020 working with the world's largest food manufacturer, Nestle, and we wanted to do a KitKat program. And the goal of this program was to demonstrate that you could get the recycled wrapper and process it all the way through the chain and turn it back into synthetic crude oil and make new packaging from it. We did that in 2020 with the Morrison government and showcased how it could happen. If you buy a Kit Kat today, you'll notice that it has 70% recycled content in it. Unfortunately, that still doesn't come from Australia, but it's doable right now. So in 2020, during COVID, we built a demonstration plant, 3,000 square metres, substantial, demonstrated to industry that this could happen. And 2 years later, we moved the whole project to a large site on the mid-coast, and we completed the facility that now stands today. And in 2025, the federal government and state government provided us with more funding to scale up this facility even further. And in June of this year, after 2 years' work, we completed all the Red Cycle legacy stock nationally. So in total, that was 11,000 tonnes processed over 2 years. And if we go to the next slide, this will give you an idea of what we do there. So we're converting the post-consumer soft plastic, we're decontaminating it, we're using a variety of mechanical equipment to take out any metals or any contamination or food scrap. We get it to a point where we're working with plastic, then we're using infrared and different sorting technologies to sort plastic by polymer type. So we're trying to separate all the different plastics. We go through a process of washing it, and that allows us then to make 3 particular products in different grades. So we end up with a pellet that can be used for injection molding, molders that you're going to meet later on. Examples of that is a company here on the Central Coast called Trendpack, and they're making bottles for the supermarkets. The colour of that isn't white because it's recycled content, so it comes out a greeny grey colour, and we say grey is the new green. So we are encouraging anyone that notices that the resin that they're using is a khaki colour, that it's probably made from recycled content. We also do what's called a flake and a shred, and right now the focus is on non-food grade applications. We can send this material overseas, which we're doing right now, to Exxon in America, where it gets made into oil and brought back as bread bags for some of the supermarkets. Next slide, please. So here's a closer look at the 3 products. Pellets on the left, easier to work for injection molders. The flake in the middle can be used in compression molding. And the shred on the right-hand side, we're using that particular product in an insulation product as an alternative to fiberglass insulation. So it's 100% recycled post-consumer soft plastic we're using. It's Australian owned and made. We're certified. We have GRS, Global Recycling Standard certification. And of course, for any manufacturer that's using our material, it provides them with the criteria that it's remade in Australia. Next slide. So bag in bin is where we believe the biggest opportunity is for councils in Australia. The CDS was a tremendously successful scheme. What it has done, though, is it's eroded the amount of content that goes into the bin. For that reason, the idea of popping a bag in bin, there's available real estate, and the average family, four people in a family, would fill one of these bags every week, or a couple will fill one every fortnight. There's a great opportunity for us to get that material that currently goes into the red bin, move it across, get it into the yellow bin and recover it. So some of the things that we're doing starts off with the orange bag as the feedstock collection mechanism. Then you can make a range of products that you're going to learn about more after I finish. Buyback is an important component in that, and how spoke eloquently to that, but there's so many things that can be made using even just a component of soft plastic. This bottle, for example, has 20% soft plastic in it, mixed with a HDPE material, and it has no effect on the recyclability of the product at the end. Next slide, please, mate. When you get the slides, there's a video link here for you on this one that'll play a 1-minute video from SBSA's open day they had last year with us at the site. More than 150 people attended site in 5 coaches, so there's a little bit more on that. Next slide. This is all about circularity. At the moment, regrettably, most of the plastic packaging placed on market in Australia is still going to landfill. This is all about stopping that. In order to do it, we need all parties to get involved and demonstrate leadership. Regrettably, the federal government's still sitting on their hands and they're not going to do anything with it this term. This forum allows us all to collectively push back against the federal government. It's interesting that as a country, we're the first country in the world to implement a waste export ban, meaning you can't send plastic out of Australia to Asia or to China, which is to be applauded. That was great. Now, unfortunately, industry responded. Lots of plastic recyclers responded, spent over 400 million building infrastructure here in Australia so that we can recycle the material. And now there's no mandate in place to make sure that the brands jump on board and support it. So SBSA's got something like 15% of brands on board right now, and 85% of brands are just waiting and watching and waiting for the government to introduce a mandated packaging scheme, which would shift the cost of packaging and landfill and burying the material, putting it back to the producers. So the producers pay for the plastic packaging they place on market, and then it'll mean that as ratepayers, we won't have to cover the cost of what's currently being landfilled. So the facility that we have at Kundal on the Mid Coast currently is processing or can process 14,000 tonnes of material. The funding later this year will move up to 24,000 tonnes capacity. Over the last 2 years, we've processed 11,000 tonnes worth of material, but we need right now more demand and more offtake. Next slide, please. So I touched on the waste export ban, the mandated packaging reforms the government has promised for the last 4 years. Last Wednesday in Canberra, sitting in Parliament House with Murray Watt, he told the group of plastic recyclers from ACOR, Australian Council of Recyclers, that they're not going to introduce mandates this term. They don't see it as a high enough priority. Their concern is that as a government, they don't want to impose further costs on families. We said we believe this isn't imposing a greater cost on families. It's actually cost shifting. Move it on to the producers responsible for placing the material on market, and there would be cost savings down the track if you take it out of landfill. That didn't hit home, so you might hear in the media moving forward in the next couple of weeks a little bit of noise about this. And that image on the right will just demonstrate for you. So right now there's 1.2 million tonnes of plastic packaging placed on market in Australia. About 20% of that, 19 to 20%, is being recycled and recovered by plastic recyclers in the country. That still leaves 1 million tonnes being buried every year. And if you lined up all the trucks to carry that 1 million tonnes, that's 50,000 trucks, and that would be a line of trucks end to end, no space between them, from Sydney to Brisbane. So collectively, I'm reaching out to everyone going, we need to do something about this, and we can, and we need federal government support. Next slide.
That's it.
That's it.
That is, yeah, that's the next slide. Thank you so much, Graham. Did you want to say just a quick final word before we move on?
Yes, the people that follow us now are the real champions. They're taking a risk, using recycled content, being inventive and creative, and making things that we can all use. This is the most important part, the offtake. With their support, we can provide them with a feedstock that they can work with, that councils can buy. Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Graham. Really appreciate your insights and all the great work that iQRenew is doing. It really is helped driving this value chain, and without that expertise and infrastructure, really we wouldn't have we'd only have a fraction of what we have now. So keep up the good work. All right, now we'll now move on to Close the Loop and hear from Steve Morris, co-founder and head of Circular Economy. Steve, over to you.
Thank you, Justin, and good morning, everybody. Great to be with you today. Thanks, Graham, for leading into this particular presentation. I'm going to talk today about a product called Tonoplast and its new version called Tonabind, which is very specifically designed for Australian roads by an Australian innovative company called Close the Loop. We've been around since 2000. So, I suppose calling ourselves Close the Loop back in 2000 gives everybody a bit of a feel for the culture behind this organisation. And we started life, and still to this day, our core business is product stewardship programs. So you see in the image there, you see Imaging supplies toner cartridges, toner bottles, inkjet cartridges. We've grown from an idea and a little factory in Thomastown in Melbourne to be the world's largest collector and recycler of that particular complex waste stream. Next slide, please. That culture of innovation has led to a number of product ideas over the journey, all with difficult to recycle plastics. The e-wood, you can see there that fence and table. This is styrenics from e-waste, which has always been challenging. The image of interest this morning is that particular one that's in the city of Sydney, where a road is being finished off nicely. How that will resonate with you, mate. That was 2014, and the city of Sydney was one of the first in Australia to use this product. So just giving everybody a bit of a feel for the longevity of these products. Next slide, please. So Tonoplast and Tonabind, these are additives for asphalt roads. Asphalt is made by combining aggregates or stones of different shapes and sizes with a binder material, a bituminous binder, to create a very durable surface. Ours started life as a solution for recycling toner powder. And you can see the image there. Yes, it is a very fine dust. People don't realise that it's actually a polymer, and a very expensive, highly engineered polymer. Now, when combined with polymers from the mixed soft plastic waste stream that we're talking about today, it turns into an additive that dramatically improves the performance, longevity, and robustness or resilience of a road. Next slide, please. So we combine those raw materials, process them here, and those raw materials do come from the recycling sector in Australia, those that are recycling soft plastics, including delivery we've received this morning from iQRenew, actually, and APR material was qualified recently as well. So the materials are engineered and combined here, and then we ship off to asphalt plants all around the country, and the asphalt is laid identically to traditional asphalt. It's just that it includes recycled content and it performs better. Next slide, please. So the flowchart looks a bit like this. You know, we're 3.5 minutes down in a 5-minute session. I can't go too far into the detail here, but as Graham said, when you get the slides, please go through this in great detail and, you know, connect with Close the Loop at any time. The important one here is that specification, the ATM 458, which is an Austroads guide for the use of recycled plastics in roads. So for all of our friends here from Council, this is recognition that the technology of Tonoplast and Tonobind has matured to the point where the road authorities are even putting out specifications now. So that backs up and that de-risks your decisions to buy this product, which, by the way, is one of the larger, more sustainable marketplaces for products made of recycled soft plastics. Next slide, please. Some data here for you. You know, a traditional council road, I mean, we're talking about resurfacing of council roads here. A lot of data, but it just gives you a bit of a feel for the enormous potential of the work that you're already doing at local government level, utilising some waste that your ratepayers are already generating and putting it back into a higher performing, longer lasting road. We've heard news about potholes at the moment. That's because one of the reasons is because we seem to have this strange idea that buying cheap asphalt is acceptable, where we all know that you get what you pay for. If you pay a little extra and build roads of quality, then they'll last longer. Next slide, please. I know we're getting close. So here's some of the performance characteristics. Raf Tuzel, thank you, Raf, is pictured here. He is one of the directors of CPB Contractors, and that is the M80 freeway in Melbourne. Next slide, please. The big news is the new product here we've got called Tonobind, and this is one of the points that was made earlier about resistance to products of recycled content in local government: cost. Tonoplast, our original product, costs more. Tonobind does not, because it has the ability to partially substitute bitumen, and that is specific to your mix design. So we'll get into the detail when we talk offline after this. And getting down to the finishing slides, here's a list of the councils that have already been using Tonoplast for, you know, what was the first road? 2013. The first Tonoplast, that was Tonopave, then the first Tonoplast road in 2018 in the city of Hume. And all these councils have been using Tonoplast or Tonobinds ever since. And I'm pretty sure that's my last slide. Thank you.
It is. Thank you so much, Steve. That was a fantastic presentation and really great product. So keep up the great work that you've been doing for so long. We'll now turn over to Damir. I'm so sorry, Damir. We've in the last minute rush to get all of these together, I left off your last name. So there's an opportunity for you to fill in the blank. Damir is General Manager, Sales and Marketing for the Holloway Group.
Thanks, Justin. So Damir Pleticosa here. So Holloway Group are injection molders, and I sort of wanted to. We've introduced a new brand called Raw Spec, which is essentially a soft plastics blend of resin that we're incorporating into our plastics products. But today I want to sort of specifically focus on, I think, a product that's going to land the most in council application. So it's called Gearhex, essentially. Permeable paver that's used for erosion control and ground stabilization. So it's been on the market for about 7-8 years, but it presents a full circle economy opportunity for councils. So essentially what we're doing is going from councils collecting the soft plastics, then working with our processor iQRenew, a recycling partner, who turns that plastics, obviously, as Graham has told you, all into usable injection molded resin pellets. We then buy that resin pellets, which we're calling Raw Spec, to our kind of bucket, and we're blending that with 100% with recycled polypropylene to make a product like this, Gearhex, which then kind of gives you that opportunity to use GeoHex in your project. So essentially buying back the waste that you've collected into products that you can use in you know, all sorts of applications that I'll talk to in the next couple of slides. So next slide. So essentially, I won't go into too much detail, but you know, it's all made here in Minto. The GeoHex it's a lot cheaper and easier to install than concrete. So it's an alternative to concrete. It's got strong drainage and permeability capabilities, so that water doesn't pool, and aggregate essentially is locked into these grids. So and I think we're the only one that's been NADA tested and certified to Class G. So we've got a lot of applications that are being used, big mining trucks being driven over it. So it's got very strong capabilities in terms of load capacity. And giving it a 25-year design life, so it's quite a effective use of product for councils. So next slide. So now what we're sort of looking at is, this was always been kind of in the market as 100% recycled polypropylene. Working with the iQRenew team, we're now starting to introduce this soft plastic blend, which we're calling raw spec. We've looked at a 30-70 blend with recycled PP and then a 50-50. All have passed initial testing, which driven over utes, so light vehicle Class B type applications, no problems. We've even tested it to 100% like soft plastics, and that we can sort of certify that for foot traffic type applications, walking trails, footpaths, anywhere where kind of vehicles wouldn't go over. So there's opportunities to use it in different sort of application, different sort of blends, depending on what application you need for the product. Now, if we need NADA, at the moment we haven't NADA certified this soft plastics blend, but again, if going back to kind of the demand, if there is a strong demand and you need NADA certification, we can really accelerate that, from a testing perspective as well. But now we can Class B type applications like light vehicles, we can get that going, straight away in projects. Next slide. So in terms of applications, as you can see here, it's very, very broad. So anywhere where you've got mud, anywhere where you've got potholes, anywhere where aggregate is being washed away with storm, so it can be used in so many different applications, and it's a perfect opportunity to sort of reuse the waste and buy back some of this, the waste that you're producing and collecting. So, caravan parks, the ones that you guys own, fire trails, beach access, boat ramps, pathways, and I think, calling out specifically like hard stands, most councils have, plenty of these. You probably fill it with aggregate, big storm comes through, it's filled with potholes, it's washed away, then 6 months later you're getting aggregate again, topping it up. So this locks it in. It's a sort of a long-term solution to these problems. So it gives you that opportunity to create a long-term solution. So next slide, I'll kind of wrap up. Here you can sort of see it's very cost effective as opposed to using a concrete solution. So you can see like massive savings as opposed to a concrete. That's just sort of looking at a 100 square meter area. One thing I want to just point out quickly, it's probably going to be more upfront cost if you're just going to go against aggregate filling that in, but the long-term lifetime cost of maintenance, injuries, reusing, having to refill aggregate each time, this becomes a much better ROI, do it once, do it properly type application. Next slide. And as you can sort of see, we've introduced these into some of our other sort of proprietary products, crates. As Hornsby Shire Council, they're one of the guys that are doing pails, nesting crates. We're selling it through Blackwoods already. Officeworks have got tech trays, tech bins in their range. So we've broadened it just past GeoHex, but I think for council specifically, I think GeoHex makes the most sense as a product to push at this stage. And given that I've got 5 minutes, last slide. And yeah, so it's basically essentially your move. It's a great media piece. You can be one of the first councils in Australia to go, we're fully circular, we're buying back waste and putting into products in our community. So, talk to me, there's my details. We can talk offline more details, but I think it's a great opportunity for most councils. Everyone's got sort of an application where they could potentially use GeoHex.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Damir. And thank you for rushing through. There's a lot of information to cover. That was amazing. Next, we'll hear from Lou Van Tonder, Technical Director of Innovative Plastic Solutions. Over to you, Lou.
Well, good morning. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present Innovative Plastic Solutions to you. I've got Supercart on the slide as well, but not 100% relevant for you today, but certainly illustrates a lot of the points I'll be making. We are an Australian manufacturer based here in Campbellfield in Melbourne, and most of you probably won't recognize the name Innovative Plastic Solutions, but you certainly used our products. That shopping trolley there in the middle and the shopping hand baskets you'll see in Woolworths, Coles, and a lot of the other large retailers, and that's made from 100% recycled milk bottles. Not soft plastics, although we have made soft plastic shopping trolleys in the past, material that used to come from Close the Loop before the red cycle problem occurred. Next slide. We've been manufacturing in Campbellfield in Melbourne for the last 30 years. Our roots are in the automotive industry around about 10 years ago. When that came to an end, we pivoted and we started making a range of other products. Our focus is simple. We want to keep manufacturing in Australia, and we want to create jobs and transform waste streams and use our own resources instead of buying virgin materials from overseas. We see waste as a resource, not as a problem, and the following slide will illustrate some of the things we're already doing. So this is just a brief snapshot. It's a really diverse portfolio. Some of it might be relevant, a lot of it won't be relevant to councils, but it's more to illustrate the point of what is possible and to engage and create products that can be used within your councils. If you start on the top right-hand side, we do products for construction that's made from recycled water bottles, so rPET. We also do wheel stops. We'll do retail products, mainly from recycled milk bottles and also from recycled polypropylene, both post-consumer and post-industrial. Into the pharma sector, some logistics crates, that type of product. The products on the left-hand side are certainly the ones where there's a big opportunity to add recycled soft plastics, similar to what Holloway Group just showed you. It is very doable to get up to a 50% blend of soft plastic and post-consumer polypropylene, all materials that are going through your recycling stream already. It all depends on the specific product, on how much you can use. We have made products also 100% from recycled soft plastics, like that hand basket, for example. It all just goes along what's the end use, similar again to what Samir said, if it's for foot traffic or whatever, the point he illustrated there. But you can use 100% recycled soft plastic. Next slide, please. Although we don't have a specific product that I can say this is something that you would be using every day, I think this black crate is a good illustration. It's something that can take a high content of soft plastic, but really it's to demonstrate what is possible. You're already investing a lot and significant resources into the collection and recycling, and with your insights in what is used within your councils and what do you procure, you can now think about what can this be made from a recycled soft plastic or a combination of recycled soft plastic plus some polypropylene to give it some rigidity. And we certainly got the capability and the willingness to co-invest in the product design and development and the manufacturing. The trick is to get enough demand, again similar to what has already been said. It is in the end a volume game to get the investment going. But once it's there, it's something that can be a continual product that can consume a lot of these waste products instead of letting it go overseas or go to landfill. I'll try and keep it brief and can go to the last slide. I just want to leave this one message with you, and that is that we know how to manufacture products. We've got long-standing relationships with the recycling partners, the Close the Loops, iQRenews, and various others, Big Bag Recovery. We have done all the homework. We've got a few products that's already got a lot of these recycled materials in it. And yeah, we just want to stimulate that conversation, and we're open to engage if anybody's come up with or got an idea. Happy to look at that and to give you some information on is it possible or what is possible. I think I've got a bit of time left, and happy to take any questions. And lastly, I want to extend an invitation. If you're ever in Melbourne, we're fairly close to the airport. We'd be delighted to host you and show you firsthand what we do and how we do it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lou. That was great. Really amazing potential here, both in the products that you're doing and to continue to innovate. I think this is a fantastic example of what's possible. Again, just a quick reminder, if you have any questions for the speakers, throw them in the chat, and we'll triage them, and we'll send them to our speakers afterwards, or we'll try to answer them if we have time at the end. So let's move on to Pelagic Earth. Philippa Abbott, founder and CEO. Philippa, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today and your time and your interest. It's really amazing for us as a startup and a company to be able to see so much interest and engagement with the council sector. So Pelagic Earth, really, this is my startup. We've been around for 3 years now, and what we've really come from is 2 decades of systems change consulting and climate work. So my background's in that. I've worked across local government, state government, large corporate and federal government, and fundamentally what we are about is building a solution, because this is a market problem, right? We make valuable, useful, well-designed products, because if we make these products and they get sold, that supports the whole waste ecosystem. Background is industrial designer, so that's really kind of been where we come from. Basically, yeah, so in terms of design, right, 80% of a project's total environmental impact can be dealt with in the design phase. As I said, I come from sustainable design through and through, and we've really come up with a product, which is this grid paver plus 3 other products that you can see in the photo that is being sold and has been implemented. And we really believe in the fact that if we make really beautiful, well-designed, high-performing products, then we can really deal with this system problem at scale. We also, just to be really clear, we have been working, we have a partnership with the TREMS network, which is, what does it stand for again? TREMS is the ARC, Federal ARC for Industrial Transformation Research Hub for transformation of reclaimed waste resources to engineered materials and solutions for a circular economy. So we work hand in hand with our partner to ensure that we are testing, certifying, doing everything we do in material development gets tested independently through Melbourne University, right? So everything I'm showing you is acknowledged, accountable, and we drive our credibility in this product, and it's really, really important for us. So what do? We exist to reframe plastic waste as a valuable resource. We turn hard to recycle plastic waste and ocean plastics into durable, high-performing contemporary design materials. As you can see, our fundamental goal is to keep plastic out of ecology. That's why we exist. And yeah, that's basically, the most important thing for us. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to concentrate on the grid paver today. Basically, it is our kind of highest performing product at the moment. The other products we have are brick paver, and we have tiles and cladding coming also. This product is really interesting. Firstly, the benefits around the material. So it is hydrophobic. This means it doesn't absorb water, and it means it's mold resistant. Our material is a polymer composite. The reason why is because we're pushing beyond what is available on the Australian market in terms of performing products that will last long term, right? This is fundamental to what we do. What we're seeing through that material performance, though, is it's not brittle. We can officially say it will not break, which is a hilarious thing to say. It's incredibly tough. It's impact resistant, so the shock absorption in it is really unique for a structural material. It's locally manufactured, and we're regionally sourcing feedstock. Our feedstock at the moment for the New South Wales councils, we are co-located with iQRenew. We're NATA certified for our product with iQRenew feedstock, and we are what that gives us, right, is we do a WhatsApp text to go, hey, we need material. That comes 100 meters. So you can imagine, A, the ability to turn product around is incredible. Our supply chain is short. B, it means it increases our LCA significantly. Yeah, we've got 100 meters kilometre on our plastic transport. Beyond that, it's long-lasting, impact-resistant, zero water required in the manufacturing process. We do not have pollutants going into the environment. It is also incredibly low carbon for manufacturing, right? We're building all of this behind, and we're doing it in a certified and structured manner. Yeah, as I said, design made locally in Taree, lightweight and low transport emissions. Next slide, please. Yeah, so basically our content is 100% recycled, right? This is incredibly... This is huge in an Australian market. To put it in perspective, if you have 5% recycled content, you can put the recycled brand mark on your product. We are not doing that. We're going above and beyond, and we're ensuring that it is a stable, resilient and robust material, no matter what our feedstock is and how we're building it together. It is a really interesting, unique and really high performing product. Next slide. Some of the aspects to the product is we're looking at permeable. So we've got the brick paver here. The grass paver is obviously permeable. It decreases erosion. It increases drainage. It's designed to integrate into your landscape with any planting or aggregate. It really is a beautiful product. You saw it in that house before. The difference is significant. High compression strength, flexural strength and shock absorption. It's usable. It's lighter than standard concrete. It's easier to handle and lay. It makes it a lot cheaper to lay it, right? It's cheaper to transport because it's lighter and because it's regional. We can fulfill orders at the moment within 30 days. To be safe, we can say 60, but that's incredible. You know, everyone here's probably felt the supply chain shock globally. We're not feeling it, right? We actually, it allowed us to stabilize our markets, which is amazing. It's a real best practice in resilient circular economy business. And yeah, as I said before, we're local. We divert waste, we reduce carbon, we conserve water, we're best practice in circular economy, and we produce locally. Next slide. Yeah, so this product, this is the one, I mean, we have 4 products, you'll see in the registry. Happy to take any questions, talk to you about all of them. We can spec them to any site really quickly, so you can see what it would actually look like on your site and what that would cost and what the benefits it would give. Just want to say, right, recycled feedstock, one of the biggest barriers is the fact that how do you create consistent performance? The way that we're dealing with that is we're just overperforming constantly, right? In terms of specification for landscaping pavers, you know, the standard sits at 5 kilonewtons. We just overcompensate, right? So we're 33% above the standard in terms of performance. Our UV weathering is you know, the top you can get. Recycled content is 100%, not 5%. Where compressive strength is 6 kilonewtons. Literally, we cannot break it in a break load test. We can also change colours really easily. So we can make it site-specific colouring, which is a really lovely aesthetic. So we can basically turn and use local inputs and build you an aesthetic that suits your ecology. It's a really beautiful way to think about the kind of poetic of site. Our standard colours are grayscale, titanium, marbled, ochre and sand. And we've designed to exceed Australian standards. And as I said, NATA certified. In terms of this, you know, you're removing a significant amount of plastic. So per metre square, depending on the product, between 80 and 300 kilos per metre square. And the carbon estimates, so this is detailed estimations, and we have LCAs coming out. We also are building an LCA tool per product. So when you spec, we'll give you a data calculation for your actual site, right? But we are looking at, you know, it's 150 kilos or over of carbon per metre square. So we're getting up there, right? I think that is me. Oh yeah, this is just a before and after. We are reframing what a grid paver can do, right? Like this is strong enough for a car park, so good for anything structural that you need. But this is an example of a site. The way that you can use grid paving, we're at a point now with flash flooding, with drainage issues, with all of these things, that a structural product that allows integration is so significant, right? And it doesn't hurt that it looks amazing also, or that kids can ride bucks on it. And kind of last but not least, we also deploy modular factories, right? So we can make the product on site. What that allows us to do is to, again, shorten those supply chains. We can build and disrupt the regular economy with a circular solution really easily, which also means we build jobs and growth locally. You know, we've had interest from federal government, nationals ministers, to local Greens, to everyone, because this solution, it's apolitical, it solves the problem, and we're obviously very proud of what we're doing. So yeah, please feel free to ask any questions or drop me a line. Yeah, I'm happy to go through everything. It's fairly comprehensive or very comprehensive. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Philippa. That was amazing. Another example of the incredible innovation that's happening with recycled content and soft plastics. So next, we're trying to reclaim a bit of time. So we're going to we did have some activities towards the end that we're going to curtail so that we can continue to focus on the speaker presentations, because these are obviously really amazing. So we're now going to turn over to Chris Smith at Replas, Territory Manager for Vic, North New South Wales and Southeast Queensland. Over to you, Chris.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so I guess that explains myself there. Title slide, I guess, shows the vision and the purpose of Replas. We're a manufacturer and we use a sustainable recycled feedstock for our products that we manufacture. If we hop onto the next slide, I'll give you a bit of a background on us. So we're actually at 35 years now. 1991 we started, and our focus is to create useful and innovative products from problematic plastic waste. So stuff that's quite hard to use and quite hard to recycle. We recently were the recipients of a federal grant to upgrade our facilities at Ballarat. So it was a $2.5 million investment into upgrading our manufacturing facilities. We are an Australian-made product or an Australian-owned company. We use Australian waste, and our roots are really based in regional Victoria, where the roots of our company really go back into the mid-70s. Before Replas was a thing, there were a couple of other families working on their own ventures, which came together to eventually become Replas. If we hop onto the next one, this really is one of our biggest driving factors, the fact that we make our products in Australia and we use Australian waste to do so, and we do it in a regional facility, bringing jobs out there. So we're really all about this fact. We try to create products that are going to be useful for a long time in the community, and also obviously reduce the burden of waste going to landfill, which over time and in the future will also help our local communities. The next slides will give you a bit of an idea of what we do each year. So each year at our manufacturing facility in Ballarat, we go through about 3,000 tonne of end-of-life plastics. Now that includes both commercial and post-consumer plastics. We use predominantly HDPE, polypropylene, and LDPE are the polymers we use in our manufacturing. And yeah, they're both from commercial post-consumer sources, both locally close to us in Ballarat and interstate. If we hop onto the next one, I haven't really gone into any detail of the products we do in this presentation because there's just so many of them. We do well over 100 products. Instead, we've sort of listed the categories we work in here. Far and away, our core products are our bollards and our furniture. They're probably the most common thing you'll see of ours. If anyone's familiar with Replas and what we've done over the years, you'll notice our bollards and furniture through all municipalities throughout Australia. The fencing one, I thought might strike a chord there. You got the Sydney Opera House in the background. That fencing's actually at the Royal Botanic Gardens. But yeah, again, all recycled product. We guarantee a minimum of 85% recycled content in any of our products across our range. And that's it. I thought I'd fly through. I don't really, I didn't want to go too far into the products. There's so much to explain. explain. But absolutely, if anyone's got any questions about any of our product range, feel free to reach out to me, and definitely look us up on the directory.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Chris. It's worth noting that Replas has the largest number of products listed in the directory. So have a look at it. You'll be blown away with the range. So thank you so much, Chris.
No worries. Thank you.
All right, now over to Michael Appleford from Resourceful Living. Over to you. We are running pretty much behind time by probably 20 minutes or so. So I would just ask all remaining speakers to try to keep to that 5 minutes or less if you can. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, Michael from Resourceful Living, and nice to meet you all. You can start running through these slides, Sam, and try and keep up with me. So we are, as Justin mentioned early on, recycler and a manufacturer. We collect and process plastic waste across the plastic type spectrum, so number 1 through 7. We turn that raw material into sheets, and then from those sheets we design and manufacture products. We're based in Kurri Kurri in New South Wales, a beautiful part of the world, and that places us very close to iQRenew, where we get, I would estimate, 80% of our soft plastic from. And for all of the products that we are talking to you about or are in the directory, we would source 100% of our LDPE requirements from iQRenew. We source all of our other plastic from post-industrial use, from councils, industries and businesses in the local area and also across the eastern seaboard. So just as a look, our sheets and patterns, our founders, Jeff and Jess, founded the business 6 years ago during COVID and put a lot of time and effort into figuring out the manufacturing process and how different plastic types combine so that it turns out into something beautiful, something useful, and something desirable. Keep going through here, Sam. As I mentioned, LDPE is the focus of this group, but we do work with plastic 1 through 7. Jeff, our founding engineer and the husband of the duo, has a materials and mechanical engineering background. So that interest is that where it's come? That's where it comes from, and the ability and the knowledge to combine comes from his background. So, in terms of council-specific products, I've just got a few to run through LDPE specific. So, bin enclosures, fitting your standard 240-litre bins, light, dark. We can colorize and color code the top of those. These to reflect the waste and recycling use case. This example on the right was actually made with 100% recycled LDPE from iQRenew and went back into a Woolworths. And I think you guys have heard from a couple of different manufacturers so far that we are, all of us, really experienced in this space. We've really put the time and effort into developing our products and really understand, the use case and the purpose of adapting the material for the use case. So, for instance, indoors and indoor use, we're really happy to warranty this product for 100% recycled LDPE. Outdoors, that's where you'd start to use a HDPE frame as the structural component. And using a 50-50 mix of recycled LDPE and HDPE as the facings to prolong that lifespan. We'll keep going through our planter boxes, very similar. This one is our largest planter box, so 1.2 metres big, 1.2 metres wide, along with 35 kilos of recycled material. Indoors, again, we can make these out of 100% recycled LDPE, and outdoors, HDPE frame with a 50-50 mix. We do these in other sizes. We can also custom make them to size for a specific space. And then the final product that's LDPE specific is just some various pieces that we've done before for indoor furniture, stools. We have the ability to CNC our patterns to make that stool as tight as possible on the top right, without fixings, and desk space, front office refits, cabinetry, as well as signage and awards. It makes it a very attractive and public-facing use case. And then just very quickly, our other products that are relevant to you around formwork, HDPE, which has been rated comparable to F17 structural ply, outdoor furniture. And then the final slide from me will just be on our outdoor signage, and also a really simple use case and very relevant: site pegs, stakes, and survey pegs. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for putting in this presentation on from Tidal. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Michael. That's fantastic. Another great demonstration of the really high quality range of products available. Okay, and we'll now turn over to Paul Charteris, CEO of SaveBoard. Over to you, Paul.
How you going? So we take recycled packaging waste and turn it into high performance building materials in Australia. Next slide. So maybe if you keep on pushing next, I had set it up as automation. So that's a product born out of
sorry. Yeah, sorry, go back. There we go.
Innovation born out of necessity. So we create high performance building materials out of packaging waste, such as soft plastics, food and beverage cartons, and other multi-layered packaging. And why does it work when others fail? It's low cost, so it's effectively advanced mechanical recycling. It can coat with a wide range of materials. It's proven technology, so I haven't invented it. It's actually been in the US for 15 years, 5 years in New Zealand, and 3.5 years in Australia. And it's scalable. So our current plant capacity in New South Wales is 4,000 tonnes per annum, and it's expandable to 7,000 tonnes per annum. Next slide. And where do we source materials from? Well, we're located in Warragamba, New South Wales, which, if you don't know where that is, it's about 20 minutes from Penrith. We received a grant from the New South Wales government in 2021, and that was enough to get the plant, or help pay for part of the plant to make it worthwhile. We're defined as a recycler, so we actually take materials direct from likes of your SPSA, Woolworths, and construction partners. So we don't need third-party recyclers. So we effectively get bales, as you see in that picture. We get bales direct from Woolworths, for example, and we're one of their 4 partners. If you look in their sustainability annual reports, we're there. Other feedstock material, if you press next, we take food and beverage cartons from the container deposit scheme. We have other clients, like we actually have an international patent for recycling synthetic carpet with Milliken, which is an Australian manufacturer based in Northmead in Sydney. Next slide. And this is some of our products. So we do an internal paper face, internal lining. So this is the closest we have to a Gyprock. So you can paint it. This is in a high profile office fit out in Melbourne. Next slide. Woolworths Group, one of our biggest supporters. So we've done 200 stores to date. So next time you're in a Woolworths checkout, there's all the low height walls around the self checkouts, around the milk fridges. They normally have some feature walls. So we've actually created a custom Woolworths screen, and it's all made from soft plastics and food and beverage cartons. Next slide. KFC is also one of our long-term supporters. This is actually in South Penrith. We've done about 350 stores around Australia so far, normally around all the sort of restaurant area, toilets. You can see the sort of the black, so we created a black product to go with their black, red and white colour scheme. Next slide. Ceiling tiles. Ceiling tiles is one of the big users of our products, so they fit into the grids that you commonly see in office buildings. So this is in a council building. The one on the left is a office space. So yeah, it's an easy way to use a sustainable product in a everyday way. Next slide. Performance and specifications. So we've spent the money, we've done all the testing. So we from impact resistance, it performs as well, if not better, than plywood. Keep on going. Next, fire. We've done all the fire testing. So all our products, we have 8 products. They're all a group 3, which is the same as plywood, MDF, OSB. We've done acoustic testing. It's sort of market leading from an acoustics point of view. It's got an excellent sound transmission class, which is your sort of through wall. Chemical environmental, we've done all the testing. Termites don't like it. There's no VOCs, formaldehydes. It's safe to use indoors, and there's no harmful dust or vapors created. And we're using effectively 100% of the core is recycled, and then the facing papers, depending on what they're made of. So we normally say we're a 98% recycled content, and that's because of the facing product. We can't actually get 100% recycled, which is just part of the industry we're in. Next slide. Reporting waste emissions. So we've got a declare label for all our products, which is an eco label, which says we're not red list any of the products we use. We're GECA eco label certified. We've got 6 EPDs and 1 PCF. So all our products can be used in green building, NAPERS, and we've even got an online carbon calculator, so you can actually, even at design phase, you can actually go in and use it for your what it looks like for your scope 3 reporting. It's very comprehensive. And we've even got a digital product passport for all our products. So in some buildings now, you can actually, if the QR code's allocated to the project, people can actually scan it and look at what the end of life options are for our products. Next slide. Final slide is contact us, supporting circular products and services like Saveboard, and the other people you've seen today is that it creates innovation in the industry, helps underpin investment, and makes what we do worthwhile. So you can scan that QR code, and that's my V card. You can get my contact details. Otherwise, email me, paul@saveboard.com.au. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Paul. Again, another fantastic example of the innovation in this area. So keep up the great work. We'll now turn over to Peter from Source Separation Systems. Over to you, Peter.
Hi, guys. Thanks for your time. Can I, just watching all of these other manufacturers there, can I just say, guys, we rock. Hey, we've got this, we've done it, it's out there, and it's really exciting to see some of the stuff that's going on. Love the shipping container that was a mobile production facility. I'll be short and quick. Next slide, please. So we're Source Separation, Australian manufacturer. We've been around since 2007, since we started doing FOGO caddies and relikes and supply services. We've delivered over 1 million caddies in Australia, manufactured from post-consumer recycled content. We've got 3 sites, one in Boolaroo's, our head office, one in Seven Hills and one in Bayswater. And that's actually a bit of a faux pas there. In the last 18 months, we've used 241 tonnes of Australian recycled content in the production of kitchen caddies and the products that we use. Okay, next slide. So the way that we've been using some of the iQRenew material, which is a bit of a theme through here, is obviously the bags are collected and packaging. It goes up to Cundall. Gareth and the team up there process it. We've been grabbing some of the spec material, taking it to our factories and blending it with our post-consumer material, and making products, kitchen caddies, multi-sorts, etc. A few things we'll see in a second, and then providing these back to council. Next slide. So we're able to the guys at Hornsby. We'll call out Chris and Michael and the guys. The guys at Hornsby are great. They're a great supporter of this. We've seen some of their product already, so they can basically specify their material, their caddies. We basically bought a ton of material from Danny and the guys, took it, we made multi-stack containers using 30% of the spec material and 69% of our post-consumer. We're able to then trace that from basically iQRenew down into Melbourne with delivery dockets and purchasing, and then show it back that this is what we purchased and this is the way it went, to show that full circular process. Next slide. Oh, that's too far, I think. We've gone one too many.
Oh, apologies.
Yeah, so these are 4 products that we make at the moment out of the spec material. So we have our 7-litre kitchen caddy, which is 37% spec. We've got our 5-litre compact caddy, 25% spec, multi-sort base, 34% spec, and multi-stacks, our 30% spec. I'll call out Hornsby team again. So we're just about to do their FOGO rollout next year. Once again, specified recycled spec material in their kitchen caddies. So we'll basically take 11 tonnes of recycled spec from iQRenew, process it in and deliver it back to the Hornsby community. I have to say that once again, the great supporter, drove in there yesterday into their Thornley depot, and it just basically said soft plastics recycling is here to stay. Next one on. So this is a product that we have that we're coming to light with next year. This is a product that's currently we're using in a manufacturing in Newcastle at the moment. The plastic e-wood or modwood as they call it around the slats is made in Australia. However, we're working with Gareth and the team at iQRenew to be able to make this product out of 100% spec material through new technology the guys are bringing into some new molds, which will once again allow us to use much more bulk. To give you an idea, we've just done one car park for a council on the Central Coast Council there. Caravan park. We use 978 metres of this plastic modwood for it. So I'd love to say a kilometre, but it's just I'd be telling a small lie there. So 978 metres for one council caravan park. And they're designed to hide the front lift bins, 1,100, 600 metres, 600 litre bins, etc. It's just sort of put them in an enclosure to sort of take them out. Next slide. So there's 3 things to take away. It already works. It's out there. The biggest thing that I have to really stress out here is it is when you look at it, it is there. It is being done, but it has to be driven by local council or government initiatives. Peter and Paul are not walking into Kmart and buying something that is made from recycled content. So we really need to be at the forefront of drawing this product out. We can collect it all day, but if we're not using it, it's going to be a challenge for the industry, as we know. And we have to basically really look at, and I know Justin's mentioned it, there is the actual financial cost that turns up on your invoice, but what is the entire cost of that product that you're buying? If it does turn out to be $1 more expensive because you've had to buy something that's made from spec, so be it, but what is the actual true cost of that? So it is verifiable, it is traceable, it is there, we can all do it, but it's really up to you guys to actually create that drawer and pull it all back out of the industry and get us using it again. So thanks very much. If you can jump onto us, give us a call if you need anything, any interest there of any of the products, by all means. Thanks very much.
Just muted, Justin.
Of course, sorry. Okay, thank you so much, Peter. Really appreciate it. Your messaging is absolutely spot on. Okay, so just a quick thing. So we've got 2 more presenters here and we're very short on time. So if I could just ask the final presenters, if you're able to keep it down to about 3 to 4 minutes, if possible, that would be amazing. And then for those of you still on the in the meeting who would like to see a demonstration of the live directory, including the demand pooling tool, we'll stay a little bit after 12 o'clock for you to see that. And yeah, that is now live. So, and we'll include that in the recording as well as the follow-up email with more information. So moving on to the next speaker, we have Brad from Transmutation. Over to you, Brad.
Thanks, Justin. Next slide. So I will keep it quick. We use EPDs in our company exclusively as well. People have mentioned EPDs. We're a small company that is scaled fairly quickly. We started in Robe in South Australia in a small shed 6-7 years ago, and now we're in Melbourne, and we've got a couple of different products that basically take all different types of plastics. So we'll take the 1 to 7, but including the soft plastics. When we scale up here in Melbourne, we'll be potentially the second biggest off-taker of the soft plastics after iQRenew, who's been mentioned extensively here. Next slide. We have a resin we make, which is got an EPD, it's GECA accredited, you've got QR code traceability, registered trademark, and a patent pending on it. We use Dulux powder coating waste and agricultural waste in this formulation. I think one thing to stress is the technology available today, and a lot of the businesses have already mentioned it. We have very high grade resin made out of 100 to 90 and above % recycled content. So if you're getting something that's 5, 10, 20%, you know, it's pretty backward as far as I'm concerned. The technology is available. It's all Australian sourced. We import all of our virgin material into this country. So by getting anything made out of Australian made recycle, you've got a sovereign capability and supply chain sorted, and not just manufacturing something from an imported product. Next slide. Our bar chairs are the best in their class. Most of our products are, and we say that unabashedly. They're the strongest plastic ones on the market. They're the only ones with an EPD. They're the only ones with full traceability. They're 100% Australian made. And if you're doing footpaths in councils, which I presume all of you are, you should be getting them from me. Next slide. Car parks as well. This is our, again, it's a wheel stop with an EPD. No other wheel stop in Australia has that from the plastic side of it. It also has inbuilt technology that you can put in it. So these have just been rolled out in the Western Sydney Airport. If you drive up to a disabled car spot and you haven't got registered on that scheme, and you get in your email the bill, thank you. You can thank me for that. The technology's already read your number plate and said you're not registered in that scheme. So it's an Internet of Thing housing as much as it is a wheel stop. Next slide, please. With Resonate, now move to Melbourne, this product basically gives us the soft plastic intake at scale. And this product we can put into asphalt and into concrete. It's also got an EPD. The Resonate product is the only one on the market that is fully circular. And by that, I mean, once you dig up your concrete or your asphalt in 30, 20, 50 years, whatever it is, you can recycle it into an aggregate. And we have stopped the pathways to leachate. We've stopped the pathways to microplastic, which means that this can be a clean aggregate, infinitely recycled as an aggregate. So we are putting the plastic product, if you like, into infrastructure, but from that point forward is actually infinitely recyclable as an aggregate. Next slide. Okay, we also do these beautiful limestone blocks, so 20% Resonate in our blocks, made by a company out at Cape Jaffa in South Australia, just up the road from our Robe facility. One of the first test uses, if you like, of our Resonate from our construction side. Resonate's also been used extensively for the last 2 years in test projects around Melbourne and Australia. So John Holland's used it, Wholesom's used it, Heidelberg used it. So all the majors have used it. We just need to start getting procurement people to start ordering it, which would be great. That's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Brad. Really appreciate it. Another great example of innovation in action. All right. So now to our final speaker, Bryce from Holy Shrink. Over to you.
Yes, hi, and thanks. I'll try to be as quick as possible. So I'm the co-founder and inventor of the Shrinker, which is a soft plastic compactor. You can see it on the back, but we'll see it in a minute. We've got about 30,000 homes currently recycling soft plastic consistently throughout the world. And in Australia, we were in close contact with SPSA, iQRenew, and a lot of people that have been mentioned today. If you go to the next slide, please. So even when red cycle was at its best, we only had 2% of soft plastic that was recycled. Why? Well, there's many reasons, but one of them is space and convenience at home. And statistics from our survey last year actually show this. So next slide, please. So meet the Shrinker. This is basically the home solution that acts as a destination for soft plastic in the resident's kitchen. So it's very similar to organic waste caddies, but for soft plastics. Next slide, please. So I don't know if the video can work, but if not, you can watch it on your own time. But at the end of the day, if residents don't sort soft plastic at home, the whole loop crumbles, right? So this device is there to help remove the frictions at the crucial moment when someone wants to toss their soft plastic. And actually, it makes it addictive and satisfying, and it creates a virtuous habit loop. So next slide, please. Basically, customers consistently tell us how they love the Shrinker. They basically tell us they're impressed how much soft plastic it can fit, and that's the difference in the compaction. We made a survey, next slide, please. We made a survey last year that showed that not only people who have one of those devices at home recycle more, their purchasing behavior actually changes. They purchase less product wrapped in soft plastic or in plastic. Next slide, please. So this is our journey. We are 100% New South Wales owned. And really our goal is to make the Shrinker from Australian soft plastic feedstock GRS certified by April next year. And for our dream to come through, we need 5,000 pre-orders overall in total in order to justify to move the molds here and make it work. So next slide, please. So why should councils jump on board with this? Well, we think it's a no-brainer because just from a financial point of view, for every household that uses a Shrinker to separate soft plastic, the council saves $7.3 per year in landfill tax levy. That's a calculation we've made. Obviously, there's a lot of PR for council. Residents demand it. It's incredible how on social media, the number of comments we've got from the public saying, why is council not subsidizing this product? You know, it creates obviously manufacturing jobs. And also we've got plans to export this into the US and into Japan. So, you know, we make from a waste, a soft plastic waste, an actual resource and some value. So next slide, please. And we'll get to the end. So these are the just a quick sample of the comments and the reviews that customer give us. You can have a look on our website, holyshrink.com.au. And yes, the only thing we would ask is please jump on board, have a chat with us, and we'd love to be able to start to make this next year in Australia from Australian feedstock. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bryce. Fantastic. This is a really good example of a manufacturer who is transitioning to Australian recycled soft plastic feedstock. So Bryce understands all of the challenges of transitioning his production. So okay, so for those of you who would still like to remain and see and are able to, and would like to see a demo of the new directory, we're going to do just a real streamlined version of that now. And then we've got we've got a few more things just to wrap up with, but there's very little to go, and then we'll just leave you with a couple of messages and a call to action. So we're going to cut over to this tab. So welcome. This is the new Circular Soft Plastics directory that is available for free to everyone who would like to use it. This is the landing page. So it has lots of information on here, what the directory provides. It has all of the numbers of products and categories and suppliers. For a bit of context, this was just from the showcase today. It has the value chain map and distribution by role, the procurement toolkit. So when the procurement tools will be available from the 8th of September, as it says here, come here and you can download them directly. You'll see here, this one is currently live, the business case template and calculator, but I would recommend that you use the pre-filled version of this from directly from the catalog that will bring in the product data directly into that you can download. And then, of course, this is just the methodology here. And yeah, all the methodology and assumptions are fully documented because we know how important that is. So let's have a look at the catalog. And this is very exciting because this is the first time that this is being publicly shown. There's lots, as I mentioned, so we have 84 products. We did pull a couple out just to make sure this is fully relevant to councils. But there's a lot of information on here. First things first, so if you want to search for a product, let's say you're looking for, let's say pavers. So there's a number of pavers that will come down. This will recognize fuzzy search terms as well. So if you're not totally sure, or maybe you might, misspell it or something, it will pick that up and give you the most relevant results. Also categories down below, so you can search more within that category. You can search directly by categories. As you can see, there's a lot of categories here. So a lot of products that are obviously categorized there to make them as relevant as possible. So these are all finished products at the moment, but there are a number of products I understand coming that are also parts. So let's say you wanted to replace a bin lid, for example, then those would also be available on the site. You can choose where is it made. Right now, pretty much everything is going to be made in New South Wales or Victoria. So yeah, most of those hopefully will continue to expand over time. And then verification. So if they're certified, self-declared, or in progress, it's all there. But really the best way to go is, let's say you wanted to look at a product, right? So there's the product image. There's a couple of different images available to have a look at. So some suppliers are able to, they were able to provide a price. So this one is available on request. So every supplier kind of has their own market conditions that they're working in, but you can contact the supplier to get an indicative quote. You can also, if you wanted to kind of go down, and you can see here the recycled content, of which soft plastics and our LDPE, 25%. I mean, that's a really great example here. Verifications and standards, performance testing, all of that stuff is here. And let's say you're like, wow, this is a fantastic product. I want to share it with, okay, well, that's just my personal email that comes up. But let's say I wanted to share it with Hal. So I put in Hal's email address, and I can put mine in optionally, and this will just automatically send an email with a link to the product to as many colleagues as you want. And the emails are sent through the platform, so you don't need to stuff around with your own email system. And next is, so we've already mentioned the contact supplier. And then next is the pool demand function. Now this is really exciting. So in this case, there already is a live pool going for this. This is just a demo that we set up for this purpose. But we have, it shows you here that Lake Macquarie has already put in pledged volume for 300 of these. Well done, Hal. And it basically shows you the progress bar, how many days are left until this pool closes. But let's say let's say I'm going to be, I'm in Howtown, and I wanted to throw in, let's say, an extra 100 items. I can join the pool, and it will just automatically update right there, progress bar, the aggregated demand. And these are just little, little kind of volume milestones. So I want to emphasize that some suppliers are able to provide volume-based discounts, and some are not. They're all dealing with very different market conditions. But I would say, like, across the board, the more aggregated demand that we're able to send a demand signal for, the easier it will be for suppliers to help meet you where you need to be. So again, that's not a guarantee, but I think as market dynamics work, the closer we can get to establishing economies of scale, the better it works for everyone, because the suppliers, the manufacturers also have a lot more assurance moving forward about what the demand is, so they can invest in any manufacturing or any supply chain issues that they need to help meet that increasing demand. So let's go back and find a product that does not have a demand pool. Let's use the bin fence enclosure. That might already have one as well, but let's just see. So we want to pool demand. So if the product that you select does not already have a live pool, then it will take you down here pre-filled with the product that you've chosen. So let's say I wanted, let's say we want 100 square meters. In Howtown, that's my council for today. And then I would start a pool. So that would then be, should be listed. There we go. It's automatically listed up at the top. So again, that will be available for everybody to join as they want to. So I want to, we were going to do a demand pool activity so everybody could kind of join in and do this, but unfortunately we're out of time. But everybody will be able to play with this and do whatever you want with it afterwards, because it is a free tool available to everyone. But I want to look at the business case calculator as well. So this is a really important one. So this is actually, this is pre-populated with demo data. So you would basically just put in, let's say your City of Legends, that will automatically update. And then if you selected a paver for this, then that will pre-populate all of the environmental impact data that is automatically calculated through the emissions factors and other data that's provided by suppliers, as well as what we've pulled from New South Wales EPA sources. It will then allow you to calculate a whole of life across the whole, comparison and analysis period, right? So you can compare it against the concrete permeable paver or the recycled permeable paver and see, how they kind of net out over time in terms of cost and savings over the horizon. It also will give you, it lays out the emissions factors and all that, very, very transparent. And then if you want, you can download the business case as a PDF if you're happy with it, or the spreadsheet that has all of the equations and all that built into it. So if you need to make some further adjustments internally, then you can do that. All of the assumptions here are documented, and there's a specific page here that shows you the full calculation methodology. So again, this was just indicative as a demo for today. But once you start having a play with it, really in about 15 minutes, all of this is going to be reset and new. So yeah, jump into it and have fun. So that's basically it. Now we've just got a few final things to go over before we release you back into your daily lives. So how the directory was populated, there was a process for this. We ran the council expression of interest and invited councils and suppliers to take part. And then we had a request for information. So thank you to all the councils and suppliers that provided data through that. Fantastic. We could absolutely not have done this without you. And so all that information that the suppliers provided was then seeded, is kind of cleaned up a bit and then seeded directly into the directory. So that's what you see it live in the catalog now. Okay, we've already done that. So this is just how the demand pool works. You initiate a pool, you pledge a particular volume, you can see it grow as other councils join. You can request pricing once the demand pool closes. You can request a quote from the suppliers, and then the idea is you can take that quote with you and take it into your own procurement process as an indicative quote. One thing worth noting is this only works if councils are using it. So when you go to the directory, you will be asked to, you can view the catalog and all the products and suppliers freely, but once you start using the tools, sharing, demand pool, those sorts of things, it will ask you to register. So there will be some T's and C's and a bit of disclaimer that will come up. Very, very simple. You just read through those. There's nothing fancy in there. It's just like basically says what the directory is and what it isn't. And then you just tick that box, and then you put in your information, your name, title, council name, email. That's it. You will not receive any emails from the directory. There's no cost, no obligation, no commitment. And that will basically enable the system to send out a weekly summary of the demand pools that have opened that week that will be available for you to join. So you get that, you just click the link straight from your email. You can also come back to the directory as often as you'd like. We'll probably build a little notification table so that when you come to it, it will show what the demand opportunities are that are live, which should be a useful tool. And okay, so we've had a few things here that have gone kind of crazy with the styling and the layout when bringing this into Google Slides. So apologies for this, and also to the suppliers who you shared your decks and things didn't convert all that well. But we'll fix this because we'll send out the deck afterwards. So the one thing I want to leave you with is this only works if we all use it. It's free with no commitment. So go to the directory, register for it, and use it as much as you want. You can have a play with it and share products among your colleagues. So what this box was trying to say, who to bring in, the idea is to share it, because we know that in councils, decisions are rarely made by one person alone. It's often a collaborative effort. There's multiple decision makers. So this is designed for that. If you are in waste or sustainability and you want to share it with assets and infrastructure, or civil and roads, parks, procurement, whatever, finance, then there's a way to do that through the shared tool in there. Just pop their emails in and off it goes, and you're all viewing the same information. It's really important to do that and just bring everybody in to help give them a sense of ownership from the beginning, and so they're aware of what products are available. And just how far the technology has come to enable decision making and to give you the information you need to make decisions. Finally, I just wanted to give one final thank you to Lake Macquarie City Council. Hal, thank you for your leadership in this area. Very, very inspiring stuff. And to Sam at Circular Economy Living Lab. Likewise, it's just been phenomenal to work with you guys to bring this incredible tool to life. So next steps, you will receive a very, very short survey link by email with the deck, also a link to the recording. So the survey is very, very short, only a few questions, just to kind of gauge demand and how you see yourself using the directory. Also for any councils that really see themselves as in a position to maybe lead a multi-council procurement. So there's a number of councils and ROCs and JOs that already do that. But this could be a chance for you just to kind of put your hand up and say, look, yeah, I think there's a potential for us to do that. Doesn't commit you to anything. It will just kind of help us understand where are some of the councils that could help drive this in the next steps. And then, of course, in there, you will receive a link that invites you to register for the directory. Again, no commitment, just helps you get involved and streamlines the process. So that is it.
Thank you so much, Justin, and thank you everyone who stuck with us. Also, just want to say, amazing work, Justin. You brought a lot of passion and in kind, let's say, hours, blood, sweat, tears into it. So yeah, look forward to see how this momentum carries, and there's more coming, I think, in this space with regards to the directory and its future and its accessibility, so that it can grow and evolve and be a tool that can carry us for a little while to push this along. So yeah, thank you everyone, and yeah, please fill in the surveys when you receive them. Have a play with the directory, and yeah, we'll share some resources as we move it. Thank you.
Thank you.